Hi, it's Miss Parrott, and this video is about two trait crosses. And so we use these to determine the likelihood of an organism inheriting two traits. So, for instance, if a man with brown hair and brown eyes is married and financially stable to a woman with blonde hair and blue eyes, what color combinations of eyes and hair color would their offspring have? Remember that phenotype is determined by genotype, and in our example, brown hair is going to be dominant to blonde hair. We'll use the letter H to designate those alleles, and brown eyes is dominant to blue eyes. So, in our example, we have this man, and we'll assume that he's homozygous dominant for both hair color and eye color. And the female, if we look at these rules, she is going to have a homozygous recessive genotype for both alleles. Therefore, all of her eggs are going to have recessive alleles in them, and for our male, all of his sperm are going to have one copy of this dominant gene and one copy of this one. And when these two are married and financially stable and joined together, all of their offspring are going to be heterozygous for both traits. And so they're all going to look like the father, but they're going to be carrying the mother's genes. But if the father is heterozygous for both traits, so he still has brown hair and brown eyes, but he's heterozygous, and the mother is blonde-haired and blue-eyed, just like before, the combinations may be different. So since he's heterozygous, his sperm can have different combos. So he'll have one combination could be this dominant H and this dominant E here. Then another combination of H's and E's could be this recessive and dominant for eye color here. And big H little e and little h little e. So he could be have both recessive alleles. Now, since the female is homozygous recessive for both traits, all of her eggs are going to have the same genotype. To determine the offspring combinations, instead of just your regular 4 Punnett square like you would use for one trait, you just make a larger one. And you make a square however big you need to have the appropriate number of gene combinations. So we have 4 different types of sperm and 1 different type of egg, so we make our Punnett square like this. So just like before, we drop it like it's hot and slide to the right to fill in our Punnett square. Since our haploid sperm and egg cells have 2 copies, or 1 copy of each gene, then our offspring, our diploid offspring, have to have 2 copies of each gene. So if you're going to have 2 letters in each of these, you're going to have 4 in the offspring category. So let's fill that in. The first one's been done for us. We're already good for H, and so here we have a big E and little e, so we're heterozygous there. Right, we're heterozygous for hair and homozygous for eye color here. And then we bring down these H's, and now we're also homozygous for hair color. Now, this can be a lot to read, but I find there's a pretty easy way to do it. And if we're using colors, then I'm going to color it. So brown hair is this, so everybody that's brown-haired, I kind of color brown. And everybody that has brown eyes, which would be this guy and this guy, they are going to be brown. And all of my blue-eyed folks, I'm going to color blue on there. And all of my blonde-haired folks, I will color blonde, like this. All right, and so now I can see that 1 out of 4 have both brown hair and brown eyes. Brown hair and blue eyes, I have 1 out of 4, and it looks like I have one out of 4. I have a 25% chance. If I have a heterozygous dad and a homozygous recessive mom, I have a 25% chance of getting any of these gene combinations. Flying paper. Okay, but now, what if the mother is heterozygous for hair color? So we have still our original man who's heterozygous for both. These are all his sperm combinations, and they've been labeled here. Our female though, now can offer 2 different hair color alleles, so we give her 2 different eggs. Her eye color allele is the same for both So that's why we don't have 4, we just have 2. All right. I've already partially filled in this box, but as you can see, it's a little bigger because we have another gene combination to put into the mix. So I've already filled these in, and now you can follow me. We'll follow the little rules. I'll do the hair color traits first, and then the eye color traits, and then heterozygous, and then homozygous, and then homozygous for eye color again. And again, in order to determine these quickly and easily, I just get out my color pencils and get to coloring. So if I'm going to have blue eyes, I need to be little e. So blue eyes, blue eyes, blue eyes, blue eyes. And we'll do brown eyes, brown eyes, brown eyes, brown eyes. Okay, and then brown hair, while we got our brown. Brown hair, brown hair, brown hair, brown hair, brown hair, brown hair also. Okay, and then blonde hair is just this guy, sorry, and this guy is going to have blonde hair. Okay. So let's look at our numbers. To have brown hair and brown eyes, that's 1 guy, 2 guys, 3 guys have that. Brown hair and blue eyes, brown hair, blue eyes, so that's 1, 2, 3. Blonde hair, brown eyes, looks like we just have 1. And blonde hair, blue eyes, looks like we just have 1. And that adds up to 8. And it kind of makes sense that we would have more brown-haired folks because we've got more brown-haired alleles in the mix. So when you have 2 parents that are heterozygous for both traits, we call that a dihybrid cross. So it looks kind of scary. You have this giant 16 size Punnett square, but it's really not that scary. Just remember, each row is for a different sperm allele combination, and each column is just for each different combination of alleles that are going to be in the eggs. So I've already done this for the male, just like we've done in the past. And then for the eggs, right, I've got this dominant H, dominant E. Then in this one, I'm going to put a different combination, the lowercase h, the dominant E. Okay, and then over here, how about we have the different combination of the dominant H and the blue-eyed allele. And then for this one, we'll do the last combination that we have. And we'll put those above this column. Then you start to fill it in, right? And so you can go on, right? And I'll show you next how it works out. So without spending time doing the whole thing for you, you can see that with these different combinations for the sperm and these different combinations for the egg, this is going to give us 16 boxes, but still only 4 different genotypes. Now how many? Again, I find it easiest when I just give some sort of color code, and then it makes reading this a lot easier. But if I count, I find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of my 16 offspring. There's 9 out of 16 chance that our offspring will have brown eyes. Brown hair, blue eyes, 1, 2, 3. Blonde hair, brown eyes, 1, 2, 3. And blonde hair, blue eyes, just 1. So the ratio here is 9 to 3 to 3 to 1, right? 9 that are dominant for both, that show both dominant phenotypes, 3 that show the dominant of one and the recessive of the other, 3 that have the opposite combination, and 1 that's one that is homozygous recessive for both, like this guy right here. What's magic is every day, any single time in the world that you have two heterozygotes pairing, a true dihybrid cross, this is going to be your ratio every single time. 9 to 3 to 3 to 1. Yay!